Hey everyone, I'm Jaden,
And I'm Noah.
and we are the Super Gamer Bros, and this is the Super Gamer Bros podcast. We are just a couple of brothers who love playing games and love talking about games, so that's what we do. And today, Noah, I'm really sick. I don't know if you can hear that in my voice.
You just sound weird, but yeah,
Yeah, I've been
I
sick the
know you're
last few
sick. Yeah, yeah,
days.
yeah.
I hate it. This sucks. Let's get this over with so I can go back to being miserable in peace.
That
Uh,
being said, I'm still excited because we're talking about a great game.
I'm excited because we are talking about Psychonauts 2. Noah, how do you feel about Psychonauts 2?
Psychonauts is a game that we talked about on the podcast previously, and we had heard a lot about it for a long time, but never really played it. And then you played it, and you loved it, and I played it, and I loved it. So the fact that there was a sequel announced, what, 20 years later was surprising to all of us. And I
Um,
I thought there was no way it was going to be exactly what I wanted. But in reality, I do think this game had exactly what I was asking for in a sequel to the first Psychonauts.
well, yeah, I mean, this is a game that, I thought it was in development for like 5 years. Let's see, there's a gaming YouTuber we both know and like that is a huge fan of the Psychonauts game. And I follow this person on Twitter, and he would constantly be tweeting out updates, retweeting people talking about Psychonauts 2 it felt like years. Like I think the game at least was in development as far back as 2018. But yeah, the original Psychonauts I think did come out in 2003, maybe 2002. Uh, and it was created by Double Fine Studios. Studio head Tim Schafer, who is a favorite of the Super Gamer Bros. We've actually played many games he has developed. Our third episode was Grim Fandango, which he
I
was
was
the
going to
writer
say,
and creator of, and then Psychonauts as well. And honestly, Tim Schafer is one of as far as like game developers and creators go, I think he's one of the most tragic figures because he has created and developed some of the most unique games I've ever seen, and none of them do well commercially.
no, it's
Uh,
almost as if he's cursed.
Yeah, because he did Grim Fandango, which was considered, but he does have a lot of cult classics. That's Grim Fandango
Yeah, so
was
maybe they
considered,
sell retroactively.
yeah, developed by LucasArts, was considered a commercial failure. Psychonauts initially was a commercial failure. Brutal Legend, a game he made, a very interesting, fun game, considered a commercial failure. But all three of them kind of garnered that cult following. I think Psychonauts more than any of the others. And it led to the creation of not only Psychonauts 2, but there was also a VR game, Psychonauts and the Rhombus of Ruin on the PSVR. And really, Psychonauts 2 almost went on the wayside because they crowdfunded the game, and then the publisher for the game, I can't remember the name of this publisher. The original publisher actually declared bankruptcy, went out of business. But then, as much as I hate Microsoft and Xbox, I'll give them props. They bought Double Fine Studios and thus, gave them the money and publisher needed to finish Psychonauts 2. And, here it is. I'm glad.
A great turn of events for Double
And no,
Fine.
what was this game a success? I have absolutely no idea.
Well, I don't know either. I do want to look into the sales. Why don't you
Yeah,
talk about the setting?
yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think. Psychonauts. Yeah, that's it. Anyway, so let's get into kind of the setting here. As Noah said, Psychonauts 2 is set in a fictional alternate world in which psychic powers exist thanks to the fictional element Titanium, a substance brought to the planet by several meteors. The Psychonauts are an international espionage agency focused on psychic peacekeeping, scientific research of the human mind, and the development of psychic based technologies. And Psychonauts, the player character, Rasputin Raz Aquato, is a young acrobat fascinated by the Psychonauts, but shunned by his family who fear his psychic abilities. He runs away and infiltrates Whispering Rock Summer Camp, a training facility for young Psychonaut recruits. While there, he helps to foil a plan by the demented Dr. Lobato and misguided Coach Oleander to steal the brains of his fellow campers and the Psychonaut agents Sasha 9 and Mia Badello, while befriending Psychonauts founder Ford Kroller and Lily Zanato, the daughter of the grand head of the Psychonauts, Truman Zanato. Raz's father, Augustus, comes to accept Raz's goal of being a Psychonaut, revealing his own weak psychic abilities. And that's the end of the first game. You kind of back around of the series here. He defeats the coach. Everything's good.
Hey, time out.
Then,
I did
oh,
want to
sorry.
mention that Psychonauts 2 is Double Fine's best-selling game, at least 1.7 million copies sold.
That's good. I'm glad. That's good. Good for them.
That's a small number of copies sold for a successful game, but yes, that's cool that that's their best-selling.
Yes. So then, Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin, which was, as I said earlier, a VR game, follows immediately from the end of Psychonauts, where Raz joins Sasha, Mia, Coach Oleander, and Lily to rescue Truman from being captured by Dr. Lobato. We're going to pause for a second here. So one thing I will admit I do not like at all about Psychonauts, the series, is the Rhombus of Ruin tells what I feel like is a pretty important part. So the first game ends and you find out that Truman Zanato has been kidnapped and you go off to save him. Kind of cliffhanger for years later. I think 15 years later, 2018, I think it was, when Rhombus of Ruin came out, probably even later than that. And Rhombus of Ruin, I always thought was a side game, but no, it's rescuing Truman Zanato from Dr. Lobato, who has kidnapped him. That's that game. And then Psychonauts 2 picks up after that. And as someone who does not have a VR, and has never had a VR, so has no way to play Rhombus of Ruin, I'm very annoyed about that. That this is like actually kind of a main part of the story in this VR game.
I did not feel the absence of this at all, actually. I was going to mention that they had one joke in the story I loved where they were like, do you remember how to do this or that, or remember this from camp? And he was like, yeah, that was like yesterday or like a week ago or something like that.
No, I think I don't know about that. The only joke that I really caught, I was going to mention it later, I guess, but I do like how they do reference it once, where the first time that what's his name, Raz goes into Ford Kroller's mind, he's at the kind of bonfire area of the camp, and he goes like, "Wow, it's Whispering Rock Summer Camp. I haven't been here in days."
Yeah, that's probably the joke.
Incredibly funny. I thought, oh, that's good. That's clever. I like that. I really like that. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and we'll get into it now. Get into the story. So, after capturing Lobato and recovering Truman's comatose body, Raz joins the other Psychonauts inside Lobato's mind to learn his co-conspirator's identity, but they find his psyche secured against their efforts. However, Raz sees a vision of a woman whom Sasha identifies as Maligula, a cruel hydrokinetic who flooded and destroyed the nation of Grulovia's capital. Maligula was believed killed by the Psychic Six, but her followers, the Delusionists, have looked to necromancy to resurrect her. The senior agents suspect a double agent within the Psychonauts aided Lobato in kidnapping Truman.
Do you want me to read this?
Does my voice sound that bad?
It sounds like it's difficult for you to read. Also, I want to mention I do love the backstory with Grulovia, Maligula being hydrokinetic, and that's why Raz's family, that whole backstory ties together. It's really cool.
It does all tie together very well. We'll talk about that more in detail
Yes,
after.
I also like that they're called
the story. Yeah.
Delusionists.
Yes. Well, she was called the Deluge of Grulovia. It all goes together.
It's hilarious.
Okay, Noah, I will let you read the story then.
At the Mother Lobe, Hollis assigns Raz to work as an intern in the mailroom under Nick. Raz finds Nick's brainless body and a key to a room at the Lady Luctopus Casino. Raz enters Hollis's mind to convince her to bring the interns on the mission. However, Raz's manipulation brings out Hollis's latent gambling addiction, and Raz is forced to undo this to get this mission back on track. Inside the room, Raz finds evidence of the Delusionists as well as a slip of paper indicating Lily as the double agent.
Indicting.
Oh, my bad. Indicting Lily as the double agent.
You got it.
Raz shows Lily the paper he found, but she refuses to believe it and runs off. To Raz's surprise, Truman reveals he is faking his coma and urges Raz to bring Ford Cruller to the mother lobe and reconstitute his split personalities. As he holds the secret behind Maligula, Raz does so, along the way helping the other Psychic Six members with their own mental traumas that developed after the fight with Maligula. Once Ford is whole, he explains that Maligula is really Lucretia Mux, the previously unknown seventh member of the Psychic Six who is in a romantic relationship with Ford. Lucretia returned to Grulovia to quell an uprising, but under its leader, Czar, or is that Czar?
Yeah, Czar.
Okay, under its leader, Tsar Theodore's abusive treatment, Lucretia created the Maligula personality as a fight or flight response. Maligula went out of control, flooding the country, killing peaceful protesters, and forcing the Tsar and his family into exile. The Psychic Six defeated Maligula, but Ford secretly used one of Otto's inventions, the astrolabe, to bury the Maligula personality deep inside Lucretia's mind, and to make Lucretia believe she was Marona, otherwise known as Nona Aquato, her sister, who actually died in the flood. Ford also altered Marona's son Augustus's memories to accept Lucretia as his mother. Finally, Ford split his own mind to hide this secret and forget about Lucretia. Raz, horrified by the revelation, wants to warn his family, but Ford warns that Nona's remembering might unleash Maligula. Crazy twist, by the way.
Absolutely crazy. I love it. I loved it.
Yeah, it got me because during the whole game you interact with the family and Nona's just so cute.
Well, yeah, and they talk about how they said Maligula was the one who cursed the family.
Exactly. So they always
And
paint her as this like outside evil.
I did think that Raz, because Grulovia, this country, Raz's family is from there, so some people kind of suspect Raz and his family are kind of related, since this whole thing seems to be related to the country of Grulovia. And I thought, man, I bet like Grulovia is related to Raz in some way, but I still thought she was dead. The fact that she was Nona was the thing that completely caught me by surprise.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, Ford and Raz find Nona in the nearby Green Needle Gulch, home of the Psychic Six, where the astrolabe is kept. Nona shows signs of remembering her time as Lucretia, and Ford determines that with the Psychic Six's help, they can use the astrolabe to create a further hole in Nona's mind to permanently banish the Maligula personality. Within Nona's mind, they learn that she had already been recalling elements of Lucretia, and was the one to convince Raz to go to Whispering Rock as an indirect means to call for the Psychonauts' help. As Ford and Raz prepare to banish Maligula, Raz is suddenly removed from Nona's mind by Truman. Finding Truman's actions suspicious, Raz and Lily enter his mind and discover his brain is actually that of Bristol Mallet, Tsar Theodore's son. Mallet posed as Nick to infiltrate the Psychonauts and get revenge for his family's downfall, and instituted a plan to have Lobato replace Truman's brain with his, using Truman's position to revive Maligula, destroy the Psychonauts, and reconquer Grulovia. That twist I didn't like as much, actually. I thought that was like one twist too many. The fact that Tsar Theodore's son was involved at all.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of like, I think this and the Nona thing are good examples of a good twist and a bad twist, where the Nona thing is a good twist because it's like, if you think about it, the signs are there, the signs point to it, and it's like on a second playthrough, you might notice, oh yeah, this, and oh this, I can't believe I didn't notice that. But the Nick thing being uh what's his name, Bristol Malik, is something that straight up comes out of nowhere, and there is nothing that really hints at it at all.
Yeah, there's no foreshadowing at all.
Yeah. Yeah, because you could potentially say, I guess Truman was acting weird, but how would you know that when you don't have any previous interactions with him to base that off of? But yeah, I get what you're saying. Continue.
But I wanted to say, like, I completely agree with what you said. The problem that is that it's not hinted at all. And as soon as it's Nona, they say it's Nona, you're like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like you think about a lot of things that were said. The other Psychonauts arrive too late to prevent Maligula's reawakening, and only Raz and Lily escape. As Lily leaves to find Truman's brain, Raz races back to his family, now aware of the truth, who assisted Raz in reaching Maligula and entering her mind. Raz battles Maligula with the other interns, weakening her until Nona can emerge, and both work together to push Maligula into the dark depths created by the astrolabe. In the aftermath, Nona is pardoned and reconnects with Ford. Truman's brain is restored. Malik is imprisoned. Lobato escapes to retrieve his child from Whispering Rock, and Raz and the interns graduate to become junior agents. His child from Whispering Rock? I did not catch that.
Yeah, I caught
That's
that. No idea who it is, but yeah.
that's weird.
So the story,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah.
say my only real complaint with the story, I feel like it wrapped up too quickly. I love it. I absolutely love it. The Nona thing, the Psychic Six, all of it. I was absolutely in love with. I think it's an
Yeah, we
absolutely
didn't even
phenomenal
mention that,
story.
but the Psychic Six were cool. They were like
Yeah,
the Psychic Avengers.
yeah, it's so awesome. Everything about it is great. Again, like even the Secret Czar's son, Malik thing. I think that's cool. I just wish they had kind of set it up better in terms of the twist. Um,
Right, it just comes out of nowhere.
yeah, but I still like the concept of the old Tsar's son is
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
reclaim it.
that's
I
cool.
think that's really cool. Um, yeah, it's the only thing I don't like is you banish Maligula, and then boom, they're talking like they're in like the kind of main hub, the main like command center of the Psychonauts place, the Mother Lobe. They're kind of talking about it, and then all of the interns become junior agents, and then that's it. It's over. And I really wish you got more kind of aftermath between with Raz's family, with Nona and Augustus, especially. I would have loved to have seen some interaction there. And the rest of the family, I think that would have been really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
I've noticed in a lot of games that the like wrap ups and epilogues and endings aren't that great, and that's something we can work on.
yeah, like that's my only complaint is that I wish there was kind of more cutscene with maybe Raz going back to his family after everything and them having kind of a heart to heart or something. Um, and then maybe like Augustus and Nona, Lucretia kind of talking because Lucretia did accidentally kill her sister Augustus's mom, and
Right, that's pretty deep.
yeah, and obviously the whole thing's bad, but then it's still like she's still Nona. She was there for decades after that with Augustus raising him and
Exactly, that's what
the
makes it
grandkids
so
raising them.
conflicting.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, you're not like really our grandma, but you were still there with us our whole lives. You're still Nona, like I would have loved to have seen kind of a scene like that happen and a nice family acceptance, they would cry, I would cry, and then they'd, become, stronger familial bonds and move on from that. I'm really upset that that kind of did not happen.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's fine. It's still a great story.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I thought this was the perfect sequel, really.
I agree with you in both aspects of the game, the story and the gameplay. As we get into the gameplay, Noah.
Gameplay?
So we're going to talk about combat. While traversing the minds of the inhabitants of the world, you must help them as Raz deal with their own mental demons, as well as fight off the censors of their minds that know you don't belong. So Raz's main attack is a psychic punch. I feel like there's a word for that I'm not. There's a name for it that I'm really just blanking on, but it's basically just a little
No, I would bet
three,
they
4 hit
call it
combo.
just Psychic Punch.
Might just be Psi Punch. That sounds like
It
something
is
they
Psi
do.
Punch, I think.
Yeah, so that's his main attack. But he also has several other abilities that he can use against his foes.
What
So
does that mean? Oh,
sorry, I'm
you're
that's
just
me
trying to pull it together.
that's me muting myself to cough.
You're good. You're good.
So first we'll talk about the returning powers from the first game. Every power from the first game except for one returns. There is telekinesis, pyrokinesis, levitation, clairvoyance, psi blast, and yeah, that's it. Those are the
Yep.
original returning powers. I feel like I'm missing one there, but maybe not. So Psychonauts does something I absolutely love, which I think any sort of sequel game. So I guess go back. When you make a sequel to a game that has a bunch of different powers like Psychonauts, there are three ways that I've seen it done, and I'll tell you from my probably most annoying to favorite way of doing it. Most annoying. Your character does not have those powers, and there is absolutely no explanation why. It's just they don't. Oh well, move on. Two, and I've seen this one happen before. Your character loses those powers as part of the story, and they have to, regain them as part of the story. That is something that has happened before. Again, slightly annoying, but you're at least giving a reason why, and I can respect that. And then three, what Psychonauts does, which I absolutely love, you get every single power from that first game within the first hour of you playing it. Like, you do kind of each time have a tiny little, you could say, cutscene tutorial-ish thing that you get the powers back, but
I like those.
they're good. And again, you get all of those original powers back in the first hour. And learning them is like you're falling, and then Mia is falling next to you, and she's like, "Raz, don't forget about levitation that I taught you." And then boom, you got it. You can do it exactly how it works in the first game. Perfect. And it's the same with every other power that you get initially. Someone mentions like, "Hey, you remember how to do this, don't you?" And then you can do it. And I love that they do that. And then you also get three new powers in this game. There's the mental connection, the time bubble, and projection. Those three you learn. They're all really cool. I think they're all really really cool powers. I'm going to explain what each one does really quick before I kind of go into a little more detail with other points I have. And Noah, I'll let you speak at some point. But telekinesis, you pick things up and throw them. Pyrokinesis, you light stuff on fire. Levitation, you have a ball that you float on, and you can you use it to run around faster. And also, when you're in the air, you hold it like a balloon that lets you glide for a short amount of time. Clairvoyance lets you see in your enemies' minds. You see how they see the world. Psi Blast is just like a shooting power. Mental Connection. This was probably my favorite of the additional powers. There are these kind of little thoughts floating in air, and you can connect to them and use them, like move from one thought to the next, one little bubble. You can also connect two thoughts to make a new, make a mental connection, a new thought. Very interesting. The time bubble slows down time in a given area, and projection makes this little paper copy of you that can get into small areas.
Yeah, I
Noah, what do
mean
you think of the power? Yep.
the foundation here is fantastic. I mean, it comes from the first game, just tuned up after the 20 years of these type of games have come out, so it's just really clean. All the old powers are still good and they work pretty much exactly the same as they did in the first game. Mental connection was okay. Uh, it does actually have a use in combat. It pulls you towards enemies.
Yes. Or pulls them towards you if they're smaller.
True. I did use time bubble a lot also. And projection is fun. I like the little drawing of Raz.
No, I wanted to say, you talked about them being useful in combat. Every single power has its use in combat, which is very cool. I don't know why. I think that every power is a lot better in combat in terms of the returning powers than they were in the first Psychonauts game. In the first Psychonauts game, I used Psi Blast and Psi Punch the entire time. That's it. The only time I used other powers is some boss fights you would have to. But in Psychonauts 2, I found myself switching powers a lot more, which kind of, I think, makes it a little sucky that you can only have 4 equipped at a time, and you have to, you can do it at any time, press up on the directional pad and then change your powers you have loaded out. But I do find it excuse me, I do find it a little annoying because I had to do that so much because, yeah, I liked pyrokinesis. I never used that in Psychonauts, making fires. Telekinesis I never used in combat. Clairvoyance I never ever used that one. Uh, the only times I would use those is for base puzzle solving. So I really liked that they just made them all seem so much more useful in this game. I really appreciated that.
Right. They also increased the variety of enemies.
Oh, absolutely. They do. This is something that hit or miss in, which is specific attacks are more useful on specific enemies. I think Psychonauts 2 does it better than most because some games, you need one specific attack to damage an enemy and no other attack will work. Psychonauts 2, for the most part, every attack will damage an enemy, but some are just more useful. Noah, why don't you list all of the some of these enemies for us?
Alright, they have censors, regrets, panic attacks, judges, bad ideas, enablers, and bad moods.
And doubts.
Oh, and doubts, of course, that's what the one is.
Speaking of, powers being effective against enemies, I think the biggest example is doubts. They're the gooey kind of enemies. Very, very weak to fire. You can still damage them with your other attacks, but fire will get rid of them pretty easily. If I remember correctly from Psychonauts, the original, because it has been a long time since I played it, sensors were basically the only enemies you dealt with. There are different sizes, like there's small, medium, and large, but those were the only ones. And I love how in Psychonauts 2, you're dealing with straight up mental problems, regrets, panic attacks, bad ideas, bad moods, doubts. Like it's straight up things that people deal with that you are helping them deal with by fighting these physical manifestations of mental anguish. And that has always been one of my favorite things about Psychonauts is how it kind of approaches different mental problems and helping solve them.
Yeah, it's a really cool facet of the game. I mean, that's the whole thing, is the allegory for mental health, right?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I did also, just kind of talk about no, if you had any specific enemies you liked. For example,
I
I love in terms of again making all of the different moves useful in combat. Bad moods. The way you fight bad moods is you have to use clairvoyance on them to find the source of the bad mood, which then is like a heart in a cage that you destroy and it turns the bad mood into a good mood. I think that was a really cool concept. I really enjoyed that. Again, making these powers useful in any type of
especially
situation
that
of the
one
game.
is impressive.
Yeah, yeah.
I liked the judges. I just thought they were very cool looking, and they were like the toughest enemy. So
No, you're crazy. Panic attacks were the toughest enemies. I struggled against those guys every single
no,
time.
no,
Like you have to use the time bubble to slow them down, and they're just I
that's
only
easy.
in combat I only died in this game once, and it was because of stupid panic attacks. I just couldn't do it. Like I struggled with those things so much. Yeah,
Oh my,
I love the enemies, love the combat. I think Psychonauts 2 certainly improves upon the combat of the first game, Noah.
100%. Well said.
All right. Now we move on to traversal. The other big aspect of gameplay. So, at its heart, Psychonauts 2 is a 3D platforming game. Raz can jump, he can grind rails, and he can use his many psychic abilities to help him traverse the world and minds of Psychonauts. So, yeah, I mean, if you're not fighting, you're platforming. I think Psychonauts is a very, very good 3D platformer, very well designed. Honestly, at the top of my head right now, the only complaint I can have is I feel like telekinesis. If you remember, Noah, in the first Psychonauts game, well, I mean, just the telekinesis ball, when you're running around. In the first game, you would have stages. At least it happens once. I don't know. Maybe it only happened once. You ride on the ball, and you're going like, it's almost like a downhill slide section, and you got to go back and forth. Got to catch some figments if you can, whatever, and you can't go back. So if you miss one, you got to kill yourself and get it the next
What
time.
is your
All that
point?
stuff. I was just saying, my only complaint is that doesn't happen in this. It happens in the very first mind of Psychonauts 2, but then it never really happens again, and it's a shame because I like that.
Yeah, I'm not asking for more of that. I don't like those. I was gonna say I didn't have a single problem with the traversal and the platforming in this game. I thought it was perfectly done. I loved the design of all the levels, what you're actually platforming on. Each mine
Uh-huh.
was very unique. We're about to talk about that.
Correct.
But it fixed a lot of, for me, it was like, control problems with the first game, just probably due to the age. And all
Oh,
those are just gone.
oh, 1,000,000%. Playing through the first game, and anytime I would talk to somebody about it, and I would always recommend it. Like, there's this someone I work with actually that I was talking about because I was playing through the second one recently, so I was talking to them about it and mentioned, oh, well, you should play the first game first.
Oh,
And
was that it? Oh,
no, sorry, that was
get to me
coughing.
every time.
Yeah, and they asked about it. I said, oh, I mean, you should start with the first one. My only thing about the first one is, it came out like 2003, PlayStation 2, so it's got some of that 2003 PlayStation 2 issues with platformers that, just it's that era that kind of all games have.
Inescapable, yeah.
Yeah, like certainly not game breaking, but you might deal with some annoyances. Anyway, so
Right, back
now
to this game.
back to Psychonauts 2, we're going to talk about the mines. Um, just going to list them all, and then Noah, you can maybe talk about some of your favorites. I'll talk about some of my favorites.
Okay.
I'll yell at you because you're wrong, all the good stuff. So just going to list them off here. There is Lobato's Labyrinth, Hollis's Classroom, Hollis's Hot Streak, Compton's Cook-Off, Psyking's Sensorium, and then the three aspects of Ford Kroller's brain, Ford's follicles, Strike City, and Kroller's correspondence. There's Tomb of the Sarcophagus, Cassie's Collection, Bob's Bottles, Lucretia's Lament, and Fatherland Follies.
Well, seeing it written out like this, there's actually a lot more mines than it feels like when you're going through it. Mostly because half of these are from Ford Kruller's mind.
Yeah, I will say, I had the exact same thought process when I was typing them out on this document. I was like, wow, there's more of these than I thought there were.
Yes, you said you wanted to know about my favorite one, and my favorite one in the whole game was Compton's Cook-Off.
I absolutely thought that when I played that world. I thought, oh, Noah is gonna love this because
It was so
you and Paige
fun.
watch your stupid cook shows all the time.
That is true, we do, and it was just like that. We also played Overcooked, so yeah, it was great. I just thought it was a really fun level.
I agree that it's a really fun level. Mine is my favorite. Noah, can you guess?
I have no idea.
Gotcha. It's Psyking's Sensorium.
That was the one I was gonna guess. That's funny.
Yeah, well, I love music. It's very like Woodstock Beatles-esque, and the Beatles are one of my favorite bands.
Absolutely.
And so I like that's just the vibe I got. I'm like, dude, they're dressed like Sergeant Peppers. It's awesome. It was great. And then the just surprising revelation that you're in the mind of the missing, thought long dead Psychonauts Psychic 6 member Helmet Fullbear.
Really cool.
Yeah, such a cool revelation, and he was awesome. I think he's just an awesome character. Probably my favorite of the Psychic 6. It was just the whole thing. I think that mind is awesome. Go back up to the minds.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I loved talking about kind of just the beginning of the game, with Lobato's Labyrinth. How it starts out and you're just in like a business center, because it makes it seem like that's the headquarters of the Psychonauts.
It's hilarious.
Raz says like, "Oh, I've always wanted to be a Psychonaut. I just didn't realize working at the headquarters would be so boring." And he's just typing in an office, in a cubicle and stuff.
Yeah, it was a great intro.
A very good intro, and then the whole mashup of Office with like dental stuff and like teeth everywhere. It was trippy. It was gnarly. I enjoyed that.
Visually striking.
Yeah.
All the levels in this game are extremely visually striking.
Overall, I will say, I think I like Psychonauts 1 better with its mine variety.
I disagree. I prefer Psychonauts 2. That's just me, and I also prefer Psychonauts 2 when you talk about the real world.
I agree. Just going back on the mines before you try to just push us along.
Oh, sorry.
Psyking Sensorium, absolutely my favorite mind in the series, like my all-time #1 favorite. But
You
in the
said that
rest,
already.
I know I said favorite in this game, but it is my favorite in the series. I do love the mines in Psychonauts 2 overall. I just think Psychonauts 1 were a little bit more unique and weird. And yeah, that's it.
Um,
Yeah. Anyway,
I
Noah,
guess I could understand that complaint, but if I actually had to make a complaint, it would be the fact that you visit the same person's mind so many times.
I think they're all
Um,
different. They're all different
yeah,
enough that
they're
I don't think
different
it's too
levels,
much of a
but I
problem.
was just like, it's a cop out. These all count as the same mind to me.
If they were full length levels, I would agree, but they're all also just much shorter, you
They
know?
are shorter, but I would prefer to see different characters'
Well, let's talk
heads.
about different characters. The outside world, the real world. Um, I don't know how. I imagine it's bigger than the original Psychonauts. Just for the fact that the game is newer. But there are 4 areas that you can explore. There is the Mother Lobe, the Quarry, the Questionable Area, and Green Needle Gulch. I don't know if I mentioned it in the original Psychonauts episode, but there is really one major complaint I have with the real world in both games, and it's the fact that the real world exists. And that's it, Noah.
Yeah, aside from that dumb complaint, the real world is actually a very cool area to explore. First of all, you have the Mother Lobe, and there are a surprising number of places you can go to inside and outside. Uh, and there's cutscenes everywhere. You can just talk to a bunch of people and get more information about the characters or what's going on. You can ask questions and all that sort. It just creates a very nice pace with the game to where you're making so much progress and you don't even feel like it. You feel like you haven't gone anywhere and the game is going. I like that feeling.
I don't like that feeling.
But the
I
quarry,
I 100% agree with you. That is exactly what it feels like. But boy, I did not like that feeling.
I like the feeling. The quarry is the least memorable area to me.
Yeah, I 100% will agree with that.
Yeah. The questionable area is very, very small. It's not really an area to explore. I think it's just like used for quest purposes, really.
No, you're wrong. It's a whole area to explore.
Was it?
Yeah, it's like the
Oh,
camp where his family is.
I thought that was Green Needle Gulch.
No, Green Needle Gulch is. Oh God, how do
Is
I
that where the
explain that
labs
one?
are?
Yes,
Yeah, with the jump platforms over
with
the
the
water.
jump platforms over
Yeah, it's
the
like
water.
rocks, a rock path
No,
to jump. Yeah, anyway, it's
no.
huge, and what I
I'll be
just like
honest,
that
you're
you
really
could go
confusing
talk
me.
to anybody. You could go talk to the people who worked for the Psychonauts. You could go talk to
Yeah.
Raz's family,
Yes.
or
Okay. Here, let me.
um,
I'll explain my complaint more. I thought you would like laugh at it or something. Instead, you just insulted me. That really hurt my feelings. So the real world, I feel like the areas are decently big to explore. Not bad. I feel like instead of having real world stuff, which overall, just compared to the minds of people, is very boring, I feel like I would rather have no real world
like double the
exploration, but more
mines.
mines. It wouldn't be double because it's not that big, but like if none of the real worlds existed and there was 2 more mines to explore, I would prefer that. I still like that you can walk around, talk to people, like talking to his family and stuff. But I feel like I wish that the real worlds in Psychonauts acted more of like a hub area, kind of like Dexter's Diner in Lego Star Wars. You access all the levels from here, and there's still people walking around. And I mean, obviously you can't talk to people in Lego Star Wars, but in this, you can talk to people.
You just
But
referenced a 20-year-old hub.
well, it's the same concept.
Uh,
Like Psychonauts, the first one where you can explore the camp, that's also a 20-year-old hub, and that one is worse than Psychonauts. I absolutely prefer this to the camp in
that's
Psychonauts.
Definitely fair.
Yeah, just like I would have been fine with a smaller out like real world area for more mines. I think that I just that's just what I would prefer because again, the mines are where Psychonauts shines and where all the magic happens.
I 100% agree with you there. Why don't you talk about the side missions? Good old Queepy. Oh, he's coughing. I'll talk about him.
Wait, I'm
I
back. I'm back. I'm
oh
back. I'm sorry. I
I don't
I
like
forgot to
Queepy's quest.
I forgot to
That's
yeah,
all I wanted to say.
you don't like it's I agree. I agree. It's I mean, it's not bad. It's just not great. So there are I think four side missions, which I'm pretty sure is a new concept. I don't think there are side missions like this in Psychonauts 1. At
No, I
least
don't think so.
one of them is, but you know. So there's Queepy Quest, basically your baby brother, Queepy. I hate that name so much. Like Psychonauts is a series of weird names, and this one takes the cake for I just hate it. Yeah, basically you're doing it for your mom.
The mom is my favorite character in the family.
I absolutely love his mom. She's awesome. I agree with you. Yeah, basically the baby brother is just out with his radio, and you got to listen for the radio to find him. You have to find him, I think, 6 times it is for the mission to end. It's whatever.
It's not a bad song. He just gets into annoying places.
Yeah, no, it's real annoying to find him. Then there's Gisu's seismometer quest. Gisu is one of the other
Psycho
interns.
seismometer.
Psycho seismometer. Yep, you got me. You have to find and fix the 3 psycho seismometers. Basically, when you fix them, Raz's mind gets sucked in there, and you have to it's just like a wave encounter, fight waves of enemies. Lily's fungus. You have to find a hidden rare fungus behind a waterfall. That was fun. And then the mission critical Psychonauts assets. This a returning concept from the first game. Scavenger hunt. You just have to find 16 random items scattered throughout the world.
Please God, no.
I actually found like 12 of 13 of these without a guide, so I'm proud of myself for that. But yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah, I still don't like those collectibles. I didn't get them in the first game, and I didn't get them in the second game.
I did in both games. Again, I did not
That's because
find them
you
as
have a
annoying.
problem.
Ouch. Ow. What? Did I do something to upset you? You've been slamming me all
I'm sorry, I've just been getting you this episode, yeah.
like
I'm jealous you got all these platinum trophies that I don't want to put the work in for.
yeah, whatever. It's a yeah, again, I think it works better than the than Psychonauts, the original Psychonauts, but and I'm glad that they brought it back and how they brought it back. I think it's fun. But yeah, that's that. Also, I want to take this moment. Noah, what did you think of the interns? One, I'll say I thought they were way better than the other campers in Psychonauts. I hated the other campers in Psychonauts.
I actually preferred the other campers in Psychonauts because I felt like they had more screen time and were more involved. The other interns were kind of just like they were there at the beginning and then they ghosted and then they show up at the end.
I do actually basically agree with that. That assessment you have in terms of they're there at the beginning and then they're there at the end. I agree with that. I do think it's cool how Raz and the other interns are basically like the new Psychic 7. Psychic
Yeah,
6,
that's what it ends up being is like they're
Yeah.
the new team and that's cool. They're the next generation and it leaves room for more games.
Yeah. Also, in terms of I guess the story or whatever, I didn't realize, playing the first game way back, I thought the Psychonauts had been around a long time, but the Psychonauts have only existed for 20 years, which is incredibly shocking.
Yeah, that is crazy actually. I didn't know that.
Yeah, just that little aside. Um, yeah, those are the side missions and the interns, I guess. Speaking of interns, intern credit. That's Raz's rank in this game. As his credit increases, he gains skill points to upgrade his psychic abilities. In Psychonauts, the maximum rank was 101, and in Psychonauts 2, the maximum rank is 102. Crazy. I wonder what the maximum rank is going to be in Psychonauts 3.
That's hilarious though.
Yeah, that's I don't know. There's no basically everything you do in the game works towards building up this rank.
We could have talked about how funny it is that they go through all the work of the first game. Raz is the hero, and then he's just an intern.
Yeah, well, everyone doubts Raz's abilities. That's basically how it goes. like with the exception of Ford and Sasha.
Lily.
Well, Lily likes him, yeah, but I think like Ford and Sasha and maybe Mia, she's kind of weird, but like Ford and Sasha especially have absolute faith in his abilities, and I, appreciate that. But mostly everyone else just treats him like he's an annoying kid when somehow he's better than like every other side. Like I'll be honest, I think it's incredibly annoying how the Psychic Six, who were six of the best psychics to have ever lived, all had their minds broken with the battle with Maligula, and it took
Yeah,
a
all of them
10-year-old
were messed
boy.
up.
Yeah, and it took a 10-year-old boy to like nobody else thought of that of just going into their minds and trying to fix it. Insane that it's Raz, this 10-year-old kid who's somehow doing all this work and defeats like the Psychic Six couldn't beat Maligula, and Raz did it with the interns. I guess you could say they were kind of hampered because it's like, oh, that's their friend Lucretia, and so they're trying to help her and don't want to just fight her and stuff. Whatever. Raz is the most underappreciated character in the history of video games. Let's move on to the automatics. This is the shop of the game. Use Titanium to buy Psi cores, Dream Fluffs, Psi Pops, bags to store your Psi cores, Dream Fluffs, Psi Pops, and Titanium, and pins.
Yeah, I only bought Psychors.
I bought everything. Again, you have to buy everything for
Yeah, I
trophies.
assumed.
Again, it's been a long time. It's been a long time, probably at least 5 years since I played Psychonauts. But you could get money in that game, but I feel like the money was not as useful. It wasn't. I know you had to buy the cobweb duster for mental cobwebs, which is, I think, in terms of collectibles, it's one of the few things that does not return in this game. I have no idea why, but yeah, the mental
Yeah, I'm
cobwebs.
actually sad about that also, though. Yeah,
Like
it was
you,
a cool
yeah, but you had to
mental
buy
aspect.
you had to buy the cobweb duster, and then to get mental cobwebs, and then you would buy Psycores. But other than that, I don't think I really used money for much in the first game. I feel like there was like the camp shop. I feel it wasn't as useful. I felt like the money with the pins and the Dream Fluffs and Pops and everything. I just felt like money was more useful in Psychonauts 2 than in the first one.
I completely agree. I went to the shop. The first one I didn't, except for to buy the cobweb duster.
Yeah. Oh, so let's talk about pins. Pretty sure this is a new addition. There's not something like this in the first game. They're passive enhancements to Raz's psychic abilities. There are pins that affect each psychic ability individually, and then there are more pins with more general effects. For example, for Psi Punch, there's a pin that increases damage. That's specific to that ability. Or say general, there's one that lowers the price in the store, or stuff like that. I thought the pin concept is a cool idea. Only being able to wear 3 is stupid because there are way more than 3
I literally
pins.
never used them. I have absolutely no opinion on the pins.
Well, you have to buy all of them, and there is a trophy to max out your wallet. Like the biggest wallet you can buy holds 5,000 Titanium, so you have to max that wallet out. Is a trophy. 5,000 Titanium. If you have, so basically, looking at guides, whatever. What I was told to do was buy the one that gets you 50% off in the store. Then there's a pin that whenever you like hook onto one of the mental connection little things, it's called like mental tax is the name of the pin, and randomly it'll just give you Titanium for connecting to those, which they appear in the game a decent amount. So that's one that I got, and then there's one that just doubles the amount of Titanium you get every time you get Titanium. And I basically just played the game with those active so I could max out my Titanium. And then once I got 5,000, I went and bought every single pin, and it was way, way, way more than enough to buy every single pin when everything is half price. And then I just had, my active. When I actually was looking at the pins, it's like I guess I'll use these pins because these are the powers I use most. But there's some that are, only what's cosmetic, like they change the color of your telekinesis bubble. And one that like lets you use telekinesis to pet
That's the
animals.
only one I bought.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's one that lets you use your lets you like use telekinesis to pet bubbles, pet animals, and it's so stupid that you can only use three. I just don't. I feel like it should be more, or I feel like maybe the general ones, or maybe the stupid ones, the pet animals, the change your color, whatever, should not affect
It
those
should not
slots.
count. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think that like it's just annoying because there are several cool ones. Like there's one that makes your punches rainbow colors, but again, I can't use that because I want to, use powers on like use the pins on stuff that'll actually help me. I'll even because we didn't really talk about upgrades too much. You get upgrades for your powers. You have to get certain ranks to unlock upgrades and get them further down. Um, I think it's very annoying. I think it's the clairvoyance track. The last upgrade you can get, you have to be rank 102 to unlock this upgrade. Lets you use all of your powers infinitely without having to like wait for recharges or anything like that. That's stupid.
That's awesome.
Well, Noah, let me explain this. To unlock that ability, you have to be rank 102. When you're rank 102,
Oh,
you've
everything's
literally
already
done
done.
everything. You've
Yeah.
collected every collectible, you've done every side mission, you've literally done everything in the game to get to this rank. So there is no reason for that to exist. And Psychonauts 2, not the only game that unlocks something super cool like that, like infinite ammo or something similar. It's not the only game that has you unlock something like that at 100% completion. But what's the point? Because there's nothing you can use it on. You've already done everything.
Sometimes an argument can be made for New Game Plus in those situations.
You are correct if New Game Plus existed in this game, and it does not.
I know, I was just giving a for instance.
Yes, if a game does have something like that, but there is a New Game Plus, that is, I'll give you
A little bit.
slightly better. Again, very rarely do I want to play New Game Plus, so it's like I wish you would give it to me before I 100% the normal game. But especially at Psychonauts 2, where there is no New Game Plus, there is literally nothing to do when you unlock this ability. Why does it even exist except as an insult? That's all it is. Tim Schafer, you should be ashamed of yourself. Double Fine, you should be ashamed of yourself. Be better in the future.
Wow.
Anyway, let's talk about collectibles. So collectibles, like a bunch of other uh, collectibles, are split up as well, kind of between real world and the mental world. In the real world, you're basically three collectibles. You have Psi cards. These are cards that just are kind of floating there. You collect 9 of them, and then you combine them with a Psi core that you purchase at an automatic to increase your rank. These are the worst collectible, the second worst collectible in the game. I hate them because they're all just kind of floating there. They're
Yeah, they're
annoying
horrible.
to find. Then there is the Psi challenge markers. These are basically already Psi cores and cards. That's basically what it looks like floating there is
Yeah, that's what
a
they've always
Psi
been,
core
right?
with cards. Yeah, and it just automatically increases your rank by 1. And then supply chests and keys. You find the keys to unlock the chests. You find the chests, and you get Titanium. That's all they all have in them is Titanium. I kind of wish there was more to them than that, but that's just what it is. And then the mental world. You have returning from Psychonauts, all of the well, not all of these. Returning from Psychonauts, you have the emotional baggage. These are 5 different bags and bag tags that you find, and you must put the bag together with its appropriate tag to help people deal with their emotional turmoil, their emotional baggage. I love emotional baggage. I think it's a very cool concept, and I think it's very cool. Um,
I agree, but there was way too many of them in this game for
there's
me.
5 per mind. It's whatever. Um,
Yeah, I like it
I
at
do
3.
like I do like when you have, say, Hollis's mine, which you technically go to twice, and Ford's mine, which you technically go to 3 times. Um, you don't. There isn't 5 in every different version of Ford's mind or every different version of Hollis's mind. It's 5 total per mind per person. I do like that. Oh, and then half a minds. It's half a brain. Every 2 half brains you find increases Raz's maximum health. I don't know if this is returning from the first game because I don't remember how you increase its maximum health in the first game.
I'm pretty sure this is new.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. This one definitely new. Nuggets of wisdom. Each nugget found increases in turn credit. I like these because it's basically like as it says, it's a nugget of wisdom, something that this person has learned in their life, and each what it looks like changes depending on the person's mind. For example, in Hollis's mind, she was a doctor, so it's like a medical syringe or something like that. And then say in that's all I got. I can't remember anyone else's.
Helmet. I don't know. Memory
Yeah,
vaults return.
In Psy Kings, it's like a microphone. Yeah, something like that. They're different, but I like it does change per person what they are. Then there is the memory vaults, locked traumatic memories that can be opened and viewed. These are great at giving you, insight into what's wrong with the person that you're helping. Very
These I
cool. I
wish
like the
there were
memory
more
vaults. These are
of.
cool. Yeah, no, there's 2 per person. I wish there were more. These are very interesting little snippets into someone's mind. I wish there were more of
Yeah, I
these.
never skip them either.
Correct. And then one of the most notorious collectibles in the history of games returns with figments. These are slightly less hard to see, but still hard to see images that appear in everyone's mind and must be collected. I feel like there are less in Psychonauts 2 than Psychonauts 1 per mind, but there's typically usually like at least 100 in every mind. Again, figments in Psychonauts are notoriously hard to see, and Double Fine even acknowledged that and said, "Hey, we made it a little better in this one, but they're still going to be hard to see." And they're still hard to see. One thing I love about Figments, kind of same with the Nuggets, they're individually tailored to everyone's mind. So they're like pictures that fit with whatever environment you are in. Boy, they're still hard to find though.
They are
Um,
very hard to find, but I still like them. It's really satisfying when you get one, and you just collect so many every level.
no, you're correct. Like without trying, you will collect a vast majority. And even I think Psychonauts 2 is better than Psychonauts 1. I did not have to look up nearly as many as I did in Psychonauts 1. I maybe in this game looked up a total of 4. And yeah, I mean, they're figments. I think they're notorious. They are fun. Again, very unique type of collectible to this game. The fact that they are tailored to every mind is very cool. Of so many different images, but also being tailored, it kind of sucks because they fit in very well. They blend in. One thing that is cool, you can kind of look up the image that you're missing. It'll show you what it looks like, and you can actually kind of use that to figure out where it is because they are also placed logically in the brain. For example, one I had a really hard time finding in Hollis's casino, Hollis's Hot Streak. It was a slot machine, is what it looked like, and eventually I found it just next in between a bunch of other slot machines. It just blended it. I had run past it like 8 times. It was just
Yeah,
blended in so
every
well.
time
But
I was looking for
yeah,
one, it was something like,
like there was one I had a hard time finding that were like shaped like grass. Guess what they were? In the grass. There was one I had a hard time that was shaped like a fruit. Guess what? It was hanging in a tree. Um, so they are very logical like that. I think that really helps to find them, but still, they suck. I hate them. One thing I also like that, in terms of why I think the collectibles in the mind, despite the fact that there are more, are less annoying than collectibles in the real world. When you're in people's minds, you have this little worm-looking thing that lets you fast travel to different areas. And I don't know if Psychonauts 1 did this as well, but Psychonauts 2 does it, and I love, is each area of the mind, there will be a check mark if you have collected all collectibles. So it really helps finding the ones you're missing. It really helps narrow it down when you only
I'm
have
pretty
to look
sure
in
it
this one
does do that
area.
in the first game.
Yeah, I just don't remember, but yeah, the fact that it does that, and again, it does. There is nothing like that in the real world because like you can fast travel to each section, but there's just the questionable area. That's it. There's no smaller sections in there that you can narrow down your collectibles to. Makes getting the collectibles in the minds of Psychonauts to very much more manageable and enjoyable to me. I had absolutely no problem getting the collectibles in the mines. It was when I had to get the collectibles in the real world that I started to get lose my patience a bit.
I think that's a fair
Anyway,
argument, honestly.
yeah. Anyway, that's collectibles. Anyway, now we move on to notable trophies. Yeah, there's not really any. Yeah, there's kind of the straightforward ones of beating, but there's a lot just to, beating like all the mines and achieving max rank, beating the story, doing all the extra stuff. Yeah, that's all I got. Oh, I guess there was one. I forget what it's called, but it's for breaking the 3 gramophones in Fatherland Follies because I do no, I wanted to get your opinion on that world because it's kind of the final world of this game. Just wanted to get your opinion on that one where it's like one of those like it's a small world rides. I thought that was a very interesting concept.
I also thought it was an interesting concept. I thought it was anticlimactic for the final level.
Yeah, that is what I thought too. I thought it was very clever way to get a bunch of exposition dumped on you.
100%.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a cool world. I just thought, wow, this is their like grand finale mental world. That's a bit disappointing compared to like the meat circus of Psychonauts 1. Yeah.
Right.
But again, cool concept. I loved all the mines in this world. I thought they were all very cool concepts. I just feel like the first game overall I think has more interesting, more unique worlds.
So what's your favorite moment?
My favorite moments, I got 2 of them, Noah. One, Psy King. As I said, love that mine. It's my favorite. I'm not going to go into any more details about it. 2, reuniting the Psychic Six. So, Psyking Sensorium was the first mind I actually did. The first, after Hollis's mind, the first mind I did, because you can kind of do it at that point in any order you want, which is cool. I like that. I did his first, and the second I realized it was Helmet Fullbear, I thought, oh my God, we're reuniting the Psychic Six. That's awesome. I think that's so cool that, these legendary Psychonauts start founders of the Psychonauts, Psychic Six, technically 7, and you get to reunite them and bring them all back together. I think that's so cool. Some of my favorite moments in the story
And
were
fight with them.
them. Yeah, like some of my favorite moments in the story is you getting them back to 100%. Noah, what about your favorite moments?
My favorite moments are actually the moments with Rasputin's family. I thought having them directly involved with this game was a genius idea, and it is what created the Nona twist. Without that, the game would have been a lot more dull, and it, like you said, it was already kind of dull,
I get you.
plot
Favorite boss
event
battle?
wise.
Yeah, I get you, Sam.
Right.
Plot? Favorite boss battle?
I don't know. I can't think of any boss battles. Was there a boss battle involving bees?
Um, no, not really.
Okay. Are there any other boss battles other than Maligula?
Oh yeah, most mines end with a boss battle. The problem is,
Then I'm gonna go with
um,
the cooking one.
oh, man, I hated that one.
Rude.
Do you even remember it enough to comment on it?
Well, isn't it the one where you have to get different ingredients, different stations to make dishes?
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Okay.
I mean, the boss fight is a little different, but yeah, I guess. See, that's actually probably my big comment. My probably my biggest detraction of the game is most of the boss fights are eh. Yeah, I did not care for most of them. Uh, Easily the best boss fight, one of the best boss fights I think in all of gaming is Maligula. It's an awesome fight. Again, just the whole Nona aspect of it is really crazy. The other interns come and help you. It's a very good boss fight. I thought especially being a final boss fight. I thought it lived up. I thought it was a really cool moment.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. I mean, the whole game was just basically like it was standing on the foundation of Maligula's terror, how scary she used to be, and the fact that she could still be around.
Yeah, I think it
And we
really
just
lived
ride
up
on
to
that
that.
high for like 10 hours, right?
Absolutely.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it lived up for sure. She was scary.
Yeah. No, any miscellaneous things you liked?
I didn't even see what you had here. I thought that's funny.
Yeah.
Um,
I guess I'll go by first. Raz's family. You mentioned that in favorite moments. I guess it could have fit there. But basically, 100%, I agree with what you said about Raz's family. I have nothing more to add. I just think they absolutely were all incredible, like very fun characters, very interesting.
yeah,
I did love them.
yeah. A little bit of ground that the story needed. Miscellaneous things I liked. Oh, the soundtrack. Just like the first game, I thought a lot of the levels had really cool soundtracks.
Yeah, it's very good music.
I would just stop and listen to it for a second.
Yeah,
Be like, oh, this sounds like this other level from the first
dude.
game or something like that.
Yeah, the music is good. What we didn't like about the game, Noah.
You're so funny every time. Why do you always put so many? Like you're
I
trying to take them all from me.
yeah.
I don't have complaints about any of those.
Well,
Like
it's
I
basically
said,
the
I kind of
questions
did
is
say the same thing this a couple times actually. My complaint is that you go into Ford Crawler's mind like 4 times.
yeah.
We've already been in there. I want new minds, new characters,
I
not the
get you.
old people coming back.
Yeah, I get you.
That's kind of how I felt at the end a little
Yep.
bit, but
Well, I
I
feel
still
like
love
it's
the
kind
whole
of. I feel like
experience.
it's like a thematic repeat of the first Psychonauts game because in the first
Oh,
Psychonauts game,
absolutely, yeah.
after every kind of story beat, whatever, you go into Raz's mind. That is, it's mixed with oleanders and stuff. That's a whole thing. And I feel like that's kind of what Ford's fractured mind was meant to be in this. So it's like I guess they're trying to be thematically overall similar to the first game with that, but I did feel like it was unnecessary. Anyway, yeah, I've got three. The ending rushed. I already talked about that. Don't need to say anything else. The real world again. Yeah, I would just prefer more mines because the mines are the beauty of the game. And Raz's family. I wish they were in the game more. I think especially if you don't do any side stuff, they basically show up. In that kind of first amazing cutscene where they show up and just embarrass Raz so horribly in front of all the other interns. One of the greatest scenes in gaming history.
Hilarious.
And then you can really not interact with them until the end. Again, if you don't do side stuff, I'm 90% sure you could straight up just not interact with them. Because I did, maybe it is mandatory at some point, and I just don't know that because I just did it naturally on my own. But yeah, I think they're awesome, and I wish they were in the game more. Again, I think it pairs with the ending being rushed and everything. I loved Raz's family. I want to see them more in Psychonauts 3 if that ever comes out.
Absolutely.
Noah, replay ability.
It's a beat and delete.
Yeah, I don't know because I don't know. Like I liked it.
I
Same
think
with
it's pretty
Psychonauts
cut and
1,
dry.
and I would like to go back and play them. I think they're just good. Like if I'm ever bored and just want to play a simple, good platformer, these are games I could go back to. Yeah, and I just don't have a lot of free time to replay games nowadays. I gotta play through Sekiro, Noah.
Yeah, that'll be an experience for sure.
Anyway, Noah, your final thoughts on Psychonauts 2.
Psychonauts 2 was the perfect sequel to Psychonauts 1. It's probably exactly what I would have done myself. And plot wise, I mean, gameplay wise also actually. And I definitely look forward to the third.
Noah, I completely agree with you. I think it is about as perfect a sequel as you can make. It's straight up, almost entirely copy paste all of the concepts, ideas, gaming features of the first game, and then just adds to it. And that is all I want in a good sequel. And also, all the things it adds work well and are good, and it doesn't go overboard trying to add too much and ruining it that way, which has been done before. Yeah, as you said, it's perfect. I love it. I think it is an absolutely phenomenal sequel.
Good job, Tim.
Came out. Yep, good job, Tim. Good job, Double Fine. You guys keep it going. And yeah, that's Psychonauts 2.
Alrighty. So we move on to the indie bit, the bit where we talk about indie games.
Yay!
Today we are talking about Hi-Fi Rush. Jaden, did you play it?
I did. I did not.
Did you?
Yeah, I did not complete it. I did play it a bit.
That's fair. I haven't beat it either. I actually I thought I was close, and because I assumed it was a short game, and I looked it up, and it's surprisingly long. I was shocked at how long it actually is.
I had
And if
very
you're
much.
completing it, it's way, way too long, actually.
I
So I
actually.
apologize for you. Are you playing it on Xbox or?
Well, I have to, right? It's only on Xbox. I don't think it's
Oh,
on
is it?
PlayStation.
Okay, I didn't know that. I just
Well,
assumed we're playing it because it was on Game Pass, so we got it for free.
Well, I mean, I had to stream it. Like I had to
Oh,
play it on your account because I couldn't even download it. I had to play it over the cloud.
oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, so I
Huh.
had no desire at all to complete it because I couldn't even play it on my account.
Right, absolutely. All right, so let me talk about it a bit. Hi-Fi Rush is a rhythm action game where the protagonist Chai, his enemies, and parts of the environment move to the beat. Attacking on rhythm is not required, as actions automatically sync up with the music, no matter what. But by timing the button presses right, the players are rewarded with higher damage output and timing-based combo finishers. Okay, that's pretty much the entirety of the base game. The game was shadow dropped, which means it was dropped without any marketing whatsoever by Tango Gameworks, published by Bethesda. Tango, I'm pretty sure they previously made The Evil Within, which I played and loved. The first one, I haven't played the second one, it's on my list. Um, so the story is about the self-proclaimed future rock star Chai, whose music player is accidentally embedded in his chest during experimental cybernetic surgery, allowing him to sense the rhythm of the world. He's labeled a defect and hunted by the corporation that transformed him. Chai bands together with new friends to defeat the company's executives and put a stop to their plans. Hi-Fi Rush includes licensed music from bands such as the Black Keys and Nine Inch Nails. It also includes many OSTs, I'm pretty sure. Jaden, did you like this game?
Now, Noah, it has been brought up several times, both before you played the game, after you played the game, when the game was announced, that hey, this is like a better No Straight Roads. Let me tell you, Noah, this is like a better No Straight Roads.
It's like a straight up
In
identical game.
terms
It's
of
so funny.
in terms of the gameplay, um, I think the making everything always on the beat and just your timing just affects damage and things like that. Genius idea, works so much better than No Straight Roads, and just really No Straight Roads is like this game is a beat 'em up, whatever you call it, hack and slash, whatever. No Straight Roads is mainly just the boss fights. Like there are the kind of lead up to the boss fights where you fight enemies, but that sucks. And again, is a small portion of the game. This is actually kind of beat 'em up, hack and slash, running around exploring the areas kind of game. So I like that because it is more fleshed out than No Straight Roads is. Everything being automatic makes it so much easier, and the fact that this game does everything in its power to make it as accessible to anybody that it can be, and I very much appreciate that. Like you can,
Yeah,
at the
that's
push of a
actually
button,
very true.
you have at the bottom of the screen a visual indicator of the beat if you're not someone who particularly gets music. And then aside from that, even just as you said, just around the environment, so many things just are moving to the beat visually, which I think is very, very good. It makes it so much more accessible and easier to do. And again, the hits automatically landing on the beat and everything makes it a lot less frustrating to deal with because with No Straight Roads, your attacks really have nothing to do with the beat ever. It's just the enemy attacks that do, and it's so hard to guess and follow in No Straight Roads. Someone who I think prides myself on rhythm games being something that I'm typically good at, just could not wrap my mind around the enemy attacks and dodging them well, anything like that. It was very frustrating. In Hi-Fi Rush, not a problem at all. I think anyone could pick up this game having no
But did you like
musical
it?
abilities at all. Yeah, I like that aspect of it. I did not like the story. I'll be honest. I hate
Really?
Chai. I hate him. I hate it. I think he is super annoying. I do not like it.
Yeah, I actually hated it too, and very quickly started skipping all the cutscenes.
Yeah, and again, when you compare, I mean, I compare it to No Straight Roads because these are the only two games I've played that are kind of the similar concept. No Straight Roads has Mayday and Zook, and
Mayday and
I just
Zook
love her
are
as a
way
character. They're
better than
awesome.
Chai. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Also, the overall concept of Hi-Fi Rush to me is kind of lost, where his music, his iPod basically becomes his heart, and so now he moves on beat. And I
He
think,
is the
okay,
music.
cool, correct. Why is everything else moving on beat? Like he affects the world around him
It's a
because his
musical
heart is an
world.
iPod. It
I
doesn't, well,
don't know.
but that's never really gathered in the thing. It's just his,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it
it's
is all
like,
very odd.
again, having not beaten the game, he has this arm that has like that. I don't know, which it looks like a grabber that can attract metal to it to make a guitar. And I just sit there thinking, okay, what about where does that come across in his abilities?
Yeah,
It's
like
like they
being a
took
rock star has nothing to do with the story whatsoever.
and the
That's a
whole
good
iPod,
point.
like iPod as a heart makes him move to the beat. He, when he touches 808 at the beginning and 808 sings to him and now 808 is on the beat. That makes sense because he touched it and they connected. That makes sense. But why do these random other parts of the world move to the beat? Why does metal get attracted to his dick to make a guitar shape? It's one of those things where they took this one concept of he has to move on the beat and made it, oh, he can do anything, you know whereas in No Straight Roads it all makes sense because everything is powered by music, the world is powered by music, so everything moving on the beat just makes sense. They don't like they
Right,
explain it very well.
exactly. If they were like
Yeah, so
combined into one game, no, it's not a comparison.
yeah,
I just
I
want to
no
hear
I'm
about Hi-Fi
comparing them.
Rush.
I'm just saying, I just in my mind I'm always comparing them because they are very similar. I think gameplay wise, Hi-Fi Rush the much better game. Story wise, No Straight Roads is the better game. Music wise, because music is a very important part of both games. While I like licensed music and the licensed music they have in Hi-Fi Rush is good, I very much prefer slash appreciate No Straight Roads because, as far as I'm aware, all of their music was completely original, made for the game, and I appreciate the amount of work that goes into that. So I give No Straight Roads the edge on that aspect as well.
Wow. I agree with you, but what's interesting is this game, I told you it was shadow dropped and it became wildly popular.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
And I wanted to play it because I thought like at some point it would hit me and I'd be like, I get it. It's awesome. And it just never did. I played for like 5 or 6 hours.
Yep. Well, I mean, again, it's gameplay. It is. I think the gameplay is very fun. I very much
That's
enjoyed it.
true.
It's
That's
just
true. I did like the combat aspect, and
and
especially when they introduce parrying and it becomes more involved with the rhythm and it's do or die. That can get pretty fun.
yeah, I mean, the only like if you're looking at the game in terms of gameplay, story, gameplay, great, story, yeah, and even the music isn't bad. The music is awesome. It's licensed. It's awesome. I just would have appreciated the creativity of come up with some original stuff for your game. My best comparison, and this is my final thought on Hi-Fi Rush and No Straight Roads. Uh, I would play Hi-Fi Rush again. I have listened to the music from No Straight Road several times since I've beaten the game. Noah, are you okay?
What is the next game?
Oh, the next game, Noah, you're gonna love me for this one. It's called Rain.
Brain?
Rain.
Rain. Okay, okay. Like it falls out of the sky.
Correct.
Okay,
Um.
is that on
So just
PlayStation?
yes, you'll have to stream it. Like. Let me tell you, it's exactly like Papo and Yo. I played those around the exact same time.
God,
Kind of
Jaden,
same concept style of
why?
games.
Why?
Yeah, back in my, when I first was playing through a bunch of indie games, Papo and Yo and Rain were two of those games. And now you played Papo and Yo, now you're gonna play Rain. And again, it's short. You could beat it in one sitting, 4 hours.
Okay. I'm gonna pick another awful one after this.
Well, I mean, this wasn't an awful one. I
No.
feel like you.
No, not Hi-Fi Rush. Rain.
What was your last? What do you mean awful one? What's your awful one?
Um,
Like, I don't think Rain is a
Papa
bad
and
game. I
Yo.
wanna. Papo and Yo isn't a bad game. I like them. That's why I want to get your opinion.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm sorry.
Piece of shit.
I'm sorry.
All right, so hold on. All right. So, yeah, next indie bit will be Rain. Noah, I hope you enjoy it.
All right.
Anyway, don't forget, new episodes every other Monday. Rate and subscribe. Tell us if you like our show, or tell us if you don't, and tell us Why? Tell your friends and enemies about the podcast. You can follow our Instagram, the Super Gamer Bros, for updates on episodes. Oh, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Super Gamer Bros. That is one word, capital S, capital G, capital B, period at the end, where big news, guys, we are going all in on the YouTube.
What does that mean?
Well, that means now, instead of uploading one video a week, we upload 3 videos a week.
That's true.
Anyone listening to this who, for some reason, also is watching our YouTube videos, we would upload, we were playing 3 different games, uploading basically one part of each game every 3 weeks, a horrible way to do it in our opinions. Now, every series we do will be updated once a week so that we can play more games. And yeah, that's it really. We just like playing games together. We want to do it more. So
Absolutely, and we want more games up on the channel.
yeah, so we're going hard, getting all these games out as fast as we can. So yeah, now we upload 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for those main videos, and we upload shorts as often as we can. So yeah, go subscribe to that. And yeah, thanks for listening, and we will see you guys next game.
Bye.
And hopefully I won't be sick.